This is titled the Dream of Judgment Day. This passage refers to the great and terrible day of the Lord. See also Second Thessalonians 1 6 through 10, Revelations 1 13 through 18, Revelations 20 11 through 15. This should ever be in the mind of the Christian. This is why we preach Christ, not to improve the lifestyle of the unsaved and not to change their lives. We preach Christ so that sinners may be saved from the wrath that is to come. May the following letter written by a pastor stir up your heart to do all that you can to lead sinners to genuine conversion. Dear Brother Ray, I have been a pastor for 25 years. I always thought I was doing a reasonably good job, kind of like the folks who consider themselves good people. I had to I had tried to preach what I thought was the whole counsel of God. I prayed over the years with many people to accept Jesus and make him Lord of their lives. My wife Judy and I moved to New Mexico about 6 years ago to plant a church. Shortly after arriving, I was convicted that something was horribly wrong with my ministry. I read the scriptures and prayed earnestly that God would show me what was wrong. The feeling continued to grow and I became depressed and moody. I asked Judy to pray for me and explain the problem. I did not know if this was the Holy Spirit convicting or Satan attacking. She prayed that God would reveal the cause of my depression and make himself clear as he revealed any problem with my ministry for him. That night, I had the most terrifying, realistic, blood chilling nightmare any man has ever had. I am a Vietnam veteran and I know a little bit about nightmares. Nothing in my experience has ever came close, nor do I ever want it to the horror of that night. I dreamed that it was Judgment Day and I was standing next to the throne of God. I noticed to my left and to my right were pastures, as far as I could see. I thought this was odd that the Lord would reserve the front row space for pastors only. I looked I looked out across the space for only a few yards, and there were millions, maybe billions of people. Yet I could see each one of their eyes staring at me. As I studied the group, I noticed that I knew many of them from their from the times at the altar, or the ones who had sat under my teaching. I was pleased to see that they had made it into heaven, but confused because they didn't look happy. They looked very angry and hateful. Then I heard the voice of the Lord say, "Away, I never knew you." I was suddenly frightened that what I was seeing were those who thought that they were saved. Then I saw all of them pointing a finger at each of us pastors and saying together in one voice that shook my soul, "We sat in your church and thought we were saved. Why didn't you tell us that we were lost?" Tears were pouring down my face and the faces of all the pastors. I watched as one by one the people were cast into hell, one and then another, and another and another, until they were all gone. I died inside as each one screamed in agony and gashed their teeth, or gnashed their teeth, cursing us as they went into the lake of fire. Then I was looking into the face of Jesus, and he said to me, Is this the part where I'm supposed to say to you, 'Well done, my good and faithful servant'?" I woke up with a scream and my heart pounding, and I was begging Jesus to forgive me. I died a million deaths that night. Since that night, I have done two things on a daily basis. I do everything I can to preach the law before grace in the hope that conviction of sin will bring the sinner to true salvation. The other thing that I do is pray for every person I have ever preached to, asking God to repair the damage I have done. I also never believe anyone when they tell me they are saved. It is my duty to challenge them and search out the solidness of their salvation. I am learning to be more effective and confident as I teach others how to share their faith by using the law. I have seen several people saved who thought they were saved, and I have used the way of the master material to teach them evangelism. I do want to hear those words, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." And thanks to you and your team, I have a better chance of hearing them. Thank you, and I just want to let you know some pastors are waking up to the truth. The desire of my heart is to please God. I pray that my days of being a man pleaser are over along with the nightmares. I also pray that God will use me to bring other pastors into the truth of the gospel message so that they will not have to face the same nightmare that I did. livingwaters.com and Living Waters on YouTube.